If you follow this channel for a while, you may have picked up that I've been, and still am, very much into Genshin Impact. Their newest upcoming title, Zenless Zone Zero, takes place in an urban fantasy setting unlike games like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail. Players were recently able to participate in a beta, the Amplifying Test, to get some hands-on experience before its full release later this year. Thank you to HoYoverse for sponsoring this video. You can check out more info at the link in the description. So you might be wondering, what is Zenless Zone Zero? Every time HoYoverse starts cooking up a new title, my ears perk up right away. I've had some friends and other people in our circle tell me that they're not so much into the gradual pace of exploration of Genshin Impact or the turn-based combat of Honkai Star Rail. Well, if this also sounds like you, and you're more into high-octane action RPG style gameplay where you can attack, dodge, and parry your way through battles, then this might be the title that's more up your alley. Zenless Zone Zero takes place in New Eridu, where a natural disaster known as Hollows has occurred. The city emerged in this ravaged world where the technology developed is capable of existing alongside the Hollows, which themselves are supernatural disasters appearing out of thin air, creating distorted dimensions where monsters known as the Ethereal roam. People enter these Hollows for various reasons, and proxies, that's us, are those who guide others in their exploration through these spaces. When you're not taking on mobs of enemies or partaking in intense boss fights, you'll find yourself exploring the hub between missions. You can explore and converse with the extremely varied population of people who inhabit the world of New Eridu. As a proxy in this world, you'll gather characters to build a squad of 3 to take into combat and do battle against Ethereals and other enemies. Friends and foes alike all have different traits and attributes, so it's up to you to determine who works best in which situation by utilizing different builds. Zenless Zone Zero also puts an emphasis on roguelike mechanics, which itself will provide countless hours of gameplay and experimentation with these various characters. And there is a wide variety available in this playable roster. This world is the combination of several walks of life, and it's represented well with its many designs, human characters, non-human characters, and in the various weapons they wield. You'll be able to level up not just their base stats, but different skills that expand to more complex skills, and weapons that can grow stronger as well. At first glance, it's all a bit intimidating, but I have faith that the team will be able to gradually pace out the rate in which you'll have need for said upgrades. The most recent opportunity players got to play the game via the Amplifying Test provided a whole bunch of updates, including new gameplay mechanics like the Combat Challenge, updates to Hollow Zero, and rally commissions. There's new features like QuickTime events, chain attacks, and more of these little guys. They're called Bang Boos, and they're not here just to look cute. They can jump into the fray and assist in battle. They all have different abilities and effects, tagging in and out with your squad in style. Other features include new events to play through, new daily active missions, the ability to skip dialogue to get you right back into the action, various UI adjustments, and more. Whether you're into the character designs, gameplay, or the world itself, there is more than enough content to check out and get a feel for. The urban theme comes together with the ample amount of colorful graphic design and a soundtrack that perfectly complements the mood and characters. You gotta have some good hip-hop, electronic, and jazz music for a game as stylish as this. If you take a peek at the official YouTube channel for Zenless Zone Zero, you'll find a huge emphasis on the characters themselves. As is the HoYoverse tradition, you'll be introduced to the various playable characters in some bite-sized trailers. This is typically divided into one that shows some backstory, usually narrated by the character themselves, and a demo that shows off their gameplay. And boy, these are flashy. There is an incredible amount of characterization packed into just mere minutes, so much so that you might very well have a new favorite after watching each one. Let's go through some of those characters real quick, starting off with Nicole Demara. If you have caught a glimpse of anything Zenless Zone Zero before now, you have very likely seen Nicole, who has been headlining much of the advertisements of this game. She leads the odd job agency, the Cunning Hares, also known as Gentle House, and was raised on the streets. She is a quick-witted and cunning leader who also loves the sound of money in her own pockets. Unfortunately, she's kind of bad at managing it, and is always on the brink of bankruptcy and owing several debts. Nicole struts into battle with her briefcase, smacking enemies with strike attacks that deal ether damage. The briefcase is also a gun. Upon striking and blasting her enemies, she can lower their defense and can set up for other party members to deal bigger damage. If you can stack enough ether damage, you can also corrupt enemies, which will cause them to attack each other instead. Because why work harder when you can work smarter? She's got a lot of sass and personality, which people have already taken a considerable liking to, both in the community and by the characters themselves. Just like this kid, Billy Kid to be precise. Billy works under Nicole within the Cunning Hares and definitely has a lot to say. At first glance, this gun-slinging cyborg has got a really cool and sleek design. He's got an appearance that might make you want to steer very clear away, but upon getting to know him a bit, he is pretty much a goofball. He's a big fan of the show Starlight Knight, and you'll probably catch him repeating a lot of lines from it. Billy's got a very carefree personality, and will often refer to his twin high-caliber revolvers as ladies. He's quickly becoming my robotic son. Billy specializes in dealing physical damage with his bullets, and will often keep a fair distance from any threats while zooming all around the battlefield. With the potential of dealing range-piercing AoE damage using those revolvers, he's effective at targeting large groups or focusing on individual enemies. By repeatedly dealing physical damage enough times, you can trigger a huge damage bonus. Now, I've praised the animation quality of other HoYoverse games in the past, but there is something about the way Zenless Zone Zero does it that takes it to a whole other level. Just this right here is genuinely some of the smoothest animation I have ever seen in a video game. Everything is just so fluid, and I think one of the biggest strengths is that it doesn't anchor itself to natural human movements. The exaggerated poses and the over-the-top expressions of body language coupled with the art style makes me feel like I'm watching an actual anime that has been unshackled by typical limitations. This itself lends to the entire personality of the game, one that, while it does have its serious moments, it can be much more loose and comedic. The game understands its levity and embraces it to nurture an entirely unique personality. This game has been in development for years and is honestly looking better each time. HoYoverse has taken player input into consideration and turned this amplifying test into a wholly improved experience. There's no telling what kind of changes, quality of life improvements, and overall enhancements will be in place by release, but it's looking more than promising. For a game still being in an early stage, Zenless Zone Zero runs remarkably well. Combat is smooth, and there are generally no performance issues to speak of, which is pretty impressive for what it is considering this is a test run. But given HoYoverse's pedigree and the amount of polish that they give to their other titles, this might not even come as a surprise. I'm looking forward to picking up Zenless Zone Zero for the PS5, and it will also be available via the Epic Game Store, Apple App Store, and Google Play. Thanks again to HoYoverse for sponsoring this video. If you want to stay up to date, you can check out the link in the description and pinned comment below to pre-register for news and updates. Take care out there, proxies, till we meet again.